Hey guys, we have an exciting event in May that I want to talk to you about. My father, Chris Bledsoe, will be the keynote guest at the Contact Modalities Expo at the Lake Lawn Resort in Delavan, Wisconsin. From May 2nd to May 4th, come check out the Premier Consciousness Symposium in the Midwest. There will be a VIP lunch, a skywatch, weather permitting, on Friday. On Saturday afternoon, Dad will be interviewed live on stage by Jimmy Church in a fireside-style chat. And on Sunday night, there's going to be a cocktail party with a live DJ and a live panel. Throughout the weekend, there will be 3 conference rooms running simultaneously with some really cool presenters with amazing topics such as breath work, sound and resonance therapy, remote viewing, seeing in real time without eyes, CE5, dowsing rods, cryptids, spirits, mediumship, seances, astral travel, energy work, manipulation, Knights Templar and the Keepers of the Knowledge, the ET connection, divine feminine, frequency work via crystal skulls and biofield tuning, plant medicine, ayahuasca, channeling, quantum hypnosis, sacred geometry, and so much more. Get your tickets and more information at contactmodalitiesxpo.com and come hang with us. Welcome to Bledsoe Said So. We have another amazing guest, my very good friend, Dax Ravina.
Woohoo!
And I would love some more insight from you on this, but you are an awesome person who is an actor from Canada.
Yes, sir.
So without further ado, we have Dax Ravina.
Hey, guys.
What's up, Dax? How's it going?
Good, man. How you guys been?
We're doing good.
Doing good, man. I've been looking forward to this, especially as a follow-up to when you were here last month. I thought we could get into some of that, but also get into, like when I think of how this conversation goes, I'm really interested in your I don't know how to say this in the right way, your journey into this space, your journey into spirituality, into mysticism, UFOs, all of this stuff. So I think we have a lot to talk about. It's like, where do we focus in, right? So maybe we start there.
Excellent. Let's jump in the car and go for a drive.
Yes, please.
Take us, Dax. Take us there.
I envision myself just riding through Canada, man.
That's
and
right.
I look on my left and I see this trailer park and I'm like, yeah, that seems like a cool place to hang.
Am I in the car too?
Of course.
Oh, sweet.
Alex is there for sure.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. We're all there.
Sorry, we like trailer park boys.
Shout out to the Trailer Park Boys.
Shout out. Yeah.
So I guess I've always had an interest in the phenomenon, and growing up as a young kid in Halifax, it's like not just a thing you really talk about with people because,
Yeah.
Oh, you're crazy. What do you get the negative stipulations attached to it. So I remember I think it was grade 10, and there was I was going through the newspaper one day, and it said Stanton Friedman speaking at the public library on Saturday afternoon. So I went down. It's like, oh my God, this is the UFO guy. This is going to be interesting. And I went down and listened to him talk. He was talking about the Roswell incident and, the incident with Benny and Barney Hill. And I was just so interested. And I was captivated by this topic. So I just kept exploring and, always wanted to see something.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Trailer Park Boys, the first time I actually saw an orb or the phenomenon in the sky, I was filming an episode of the Trailer Park Boys in Truro, Nova Scotia. And we were staying at this old little motel on the side of the road called the Willowdale Inn, I think it was called. And I couldn't really tell people this story because it basically starts off with, I just finished smoking a hash joint with Ricky Joey and a
Okay. I wasn't gonna out you there, but
Hell yeah.
it's legal. It's good for you.
Hell yeah.
In moderation, obviously. So, I'm looking up at the sky, and it was interesting because earlier in the day, my friend had just, it was a year since he'd passed. He always was a huge fan of the Trailer Park Boys, and I just I was looking up at the sky and just saying, Graham, this is for you, brother. Finally did it.
Oh.
And I was doing a chase. I played a police officer, and I was doing a chase scene with the shipmobile down this old dirt road. And I remember just going Graham, this is for you, brother.
Damn.
And then I remember on the last take, the shipmobile broke down, and the shipmobile was out of commission. They had to get a trailer and a flatbed and load it up. And Ricky was crying because I was his baby. It was The Millennium Falcon breaking down. So, R.I.P. Shipmobile. So
R.I.P.
yeah, so I'm looking up at the sky and I see the shooting star. It's a beautiful night. There's like not a cloud in the sky. It basically shot all the way down and then stopped and then started moving up slowly. I looked over at the people that I was with. And I was like, guys, did you just see that? They saw the shooting star, but then they didn't see it going back up and moving. Basically, it was traversing the sky. I went from one side to the other and back and forth. And I was filming with my phone. And yeah, there's like, I'll have to send you the audio clip because it's hilarious. You have some funny moments in there. But, you know, someone had an app on their phone to check if there was an airplane in the area. And there was absolutely nothing. Like it was probably one of the clearest nights I've ever seen. And, you know, we just went on with our day and our evening. And I went back to the hotel that night and just checked my phone, and it was complete darkness. I couldn't see anything on the phone. And this was back in like 2015. And then 2017, there was the New York Times article that came out, and I was just like, oh man, cell phones were getting better with these awesome filters. And I was like, I got to try and see if I can find this. I put a bunch of filters on it, and finally I saw the image. Like, yeah, I got someone to punch in on it, and it's I think I sent it to you, Ryan, but it's beautiful. It's this beautiful orb moving across the sky and just dancing around. And then I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. Like that actually happened. Yeah. So that was the first time I've seen something, which was incredible.
That's incredible.
It's incredible. And it's adding a lot of context for me, like being your friend for a while now, but I'll just come out and say it. So you are Peter Facinelli's cousin, which
Yes.
I know you know this, but I'm really telling them, right? So you're Peter Facinelli's cousin, and you're like the whole reason that awesome weekend we had last month. We've done an episode now with Brad. We've done an episode now with Peter. You hooked all this up just so that they're understanding the story here. You got us in touch with these people, and I knew that you were super into this stuff, and you're reaching out with us, and you're like, you got to come, you know, meet the Bledsoes. You're talking to your cousin, dude, you got to come meet the Bledsoes. But now it makes sense to me why you're so into this, because you know, you've had this sighting of yours, and that's a really cool story. You know, and the time that you spent with us, it was so much discovery about our story. I didn't even think to consider, you know, in that moment, what is your story? So leading up to this episode, I was thinking, man, I really would like to know your story. So thanks for sharing that. It's super cool.
Thank you for having us. It was such a great experience. Like after I read your dad's book, it connected with it. I was like, wow, this is someone else that had an experience that's fantastic. And he's going through his life with people not believing his story. And it's just, mine was to a different level, but I totally understand and can relate to that as well. And like what your family has gone through this whole time. And I have so much respect for you guys. Shout out to the Bledsoe team. You guys are great. And just like being there and experiencing what we experienced was just, it was fantastic. It was like going to the Dagobah system to meet Yoda and, you know, learn the Force.
So you're Luke Skywalker.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I think you are.
He is.
I think you are
He
in
definitely
this
is.
analogy. I mean,
I'll take Chewbacca. But
so you had your first sighting in, you said 2015?
2015, yes.
And then you referenced an article from 2017. What article are we talking about?
This was the New York Times article that came out with I'm not sure if I can
The
say
Nimitz, right?
Yes.
It was the first ever government acknowledgement.
Oh, that.
Like the first ever.
Right,
you know,
right.
In an official capacity, and it like changed everything. Really, it's when everybody started going crazy about UFOs.
Yeah.
Before then, no one wanted to talk about it. You know, in a public, in a normal way.
I do remember that.
Yeah,
I didn't remember that. I thought it was more recent than that. It's nuts that was 2017.
It went by so fast. It's like,
that's
crazy.
unbelievable. But so it sounds like then you were kind of aware of like orbs and the light and the phenomenon as we know it prior to 2015.
I was aware.
Okay.
I've never had any experiences, but everything just happened so fast, and like you can see how everything's just happening in front of our eyes right now, real time. So it's very interesting. I had another right before the world shut down, and I saw another. I live in Toronto, Canada, and I was on my balcony and I looked out, and it was a daytime sighting, and I was looking at the CN Tower, and I saw this white orb, I have that on video as well, and it was just incredible. You start doubting and questioning yourself, like,
Oh yeah.
what is this? Is this? And, I like to be, very skeptical,
Mhm.
just because there's so many other options that it could be. But it's
No, I'm the same way.
yeah,
I feel like I'm a natural skeptic, but when you see it
absolutely,
and then you can't rationalize it, and you're like,
absolutely,
And then you keep seeing it.
and then you keep seeing it. Yeah,
absolutely.
it's kind of hard to deny,
Yeah,
but yeah. It's
but
just
it's
the nature.
we're still learning and trying to put all the pieces of this puzzle together. So it's a great learning experience. So
Yeah,
there's
Yeah.
always something to learn.
absolutely.
So now we've got your superhero origin story, or rather your Luke Skywalker.
Your Jedi origin.
Oh, you know
story.
what? Before we get into like what really went down that weekend and what we experienced together, because I'm curious, because it's been a month now. It's this week, I believe. It's been right at a month, and I'm sure you've had a lot to process. But a story you guys don't know, and we could probably just go ahead and tell this real quick. We were talking about bending spoons. Yeah, we were talking about bending spoons. His cousin Peter is really fascinated with bending spoons and all this consciousness stuff and the Monroe Institute.
type stuff?
Yes,
Nice.
yes.
Peter fascinated Nelly.
That's right.
Fascinating, Ellie.
Shout out Pete.
Dax and I were sitting in my dad's car one of the nights that I was going to take you out to your hotel. We're sitting in the car and we were talking about the Monroe Institute. I don't even remember what we were talking about. We were just talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter hops in the car and he hears us talking. He's like, "Oh, you guys are talking about Monroe? I really am enjoying Tom Campbell's book right now. I'm reading it right now." And we're like, "Whoa, that was, just out of nowhere." He's like, "I just started reading it on the flight here," or something like that right before. And we got this conversation going for like 2 days. So then the last night that we were together, we're all having this conversation and Peter's like, "I really want to bend spoons. I really want to bend spoons. Can you guys teach me?" And I've never bent spoons. I'm like, "Teach me."
I know somebody who was there who does know how to bend spoons.
So Emily, I don't even know if did she bend one? I don't even remember.
She actually twisted it.
She did. Yeah, she twisted one around. Yeah. And Peter's all like, "Whoa, this is really cool." We're just talking about it, like normal conversation. He's saying his interest in it, yada, yada, yada. Dax is sitting there quiet. And he had his beanie pulled down over his face like this. And he's sitting in the chair with his head down, and he's just being quiet, not even participating in the conversation. And this is going on 10, 15 minutes. We're all talking about it, talking about Monroe, the power of the mind. He's talking about hypnotism. And all of a sudden, Dax just goes, like some breath, and he bends a spoon.
What?
And he sets it on the table, and he walks out of the room. It just happened.
Whoa.
And we were like, "Whoa!" Do you want to talk about that? Do you want your perspective on that?
Yes. It was when Brad was doing the podcast upstairs when we were at your house, Ryan. And it was your sister, your dad, myself, and Peter sitting at the table. And we were the Monroe Institute came up and we were talking about spoons came up. And your dad mentioned his technique, what he would do to do it. Like just like an energy comes through your head and then it goes through your arms, out your hands. Because everything has a consciousness. So it's basically like he said, there's probably like a 3 to 4 second moment where the molecules can maybe change up a little bit. There's so many different techniques apparently, but that was his technique. And then he said, then you just go with it. And your sister was saying that it's more of everything also has consciousness, but you lie the spoons down and just try to communicate with each one of them in a certain way. Just you have a feeling that you get, and then you grab the one that's going to go and it goes. And it was just like, it went like melted butter when she did it, which was fantastic. So when we were sitting at your at the beach house that night, I was just taking a deep breath and concentrating, and I was thinking about the two different methods that they use and just put them both together. But the craziest part of what happened with this was I was picturing the energy come down, and I had the hat over my eyes, like you mentioned, Ryan, and I pictured we were at the river earlier in the day, and I remember standing next to your father and him showing us where the 3 orbs appeared. And I picture myself being there, and then one orb came up, and then I just started seeing a light behind the hat that I had.
Whoa.
Another orb came up, and then when the third orb came up, that's when I just felt like the spoon just went. That was the most profound moment of the whole weekend. Like what we experienced was beautiful and amazing, but that moment there was just that moment of like, wow, we all have the force.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And take from that what you will, but that was my moment. That was just like, oh my God, like something changed. It was just like, okay, anything's possible.
I think
So
I said you're a Jedi Knight now. So yeah, you are Luke Skywalker, man.
Yeah, I'm noticing a theme, man.
It was just crazy that his cousin was like so interested in it. And to my like from my perspective, because we were upstairs filming while you guys were talking, from my perspective, you and I weren't talking about it at all. It was Peter the whole weekend being like, I want to do this. I'm interested in this. I want to do this. And then I'm
So then
sitting in
you
the
were
room.
the sleeper cell. Dax was the sleeper
Yes.
cell. He comes out of nowhere and it's just like, "Yeah!"
Yeah.
You shocked everyone.
He shocked everyone.
And
It was a big
I
moment.
tried to bend that spoon like before I went into the meditation, but it wasn't going at all.
Yeah.
It was very interesting.
Yeah, because people get so skeptical about it. About like, oh, dude, okay, you bent a spoon. Go try to bend a spoon right now.
Yeah.
Go try to pick up a spoon and just, especially like
easy.
you said, Dex, like how Emily will just pretzel that thing. Like, I ain't doing all that.
It takes force to do it
Incredible.
otherwise, like without these methods, and you can't get it to certain shapes and it can snap. Like it's a completely different ballgame. But it was a shocking big moment. It was hilarious. We were
Mind over matter for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You just dropped it on the table and you walked out of the room and we were like, oh my God.
I get emotional. Like I went outside and I was like, my bottom lip started shaking. I was like, don't you start crying. You're on. Just go outside, take a breath, fresh air, and I just centered myself. And I was like, wow, it was like a moment in the movie Magnolia when I'm not sure if you guys seen the movie, but it's this kid's sitting behind a desk and he's looking up and these frogs start falling from the sky and he just looks up and he's like, I think he says like, this is something that really happens.
Whoa.
It was just a really great moment. Like it was awesome.
So then that's where the emotion kind of hit you, is that it was like,
whoa, yeah,
you had like discovered something that maybe you didn't know that we as like human beings could do. Is
like I said, I'm skeptical on certain things just because there's
Me
so
too.
many different possibilities, but it's a healthy skepticism because if you just jump to the quick conclusion, there's always something else. So it opened up another door, and yeah, it was very interesting.
That's really profound.
I've been doing the gateway tapes and just exploring that more and more, and it's awesome. Shout out to the Monroe Institute.
Shout out.
Love to come see you guys one day because it's awesome, and I believe it 100%.
That's cool.
So let's visit the weekend. Let's go into like the experiences we had together.
Yeah.
I would love to hear your perspective and what was going through your mind. I think we've already covered on 2 different episodes now what happened in the sense that, we saw over 100 orbs.
Yeah.
Or more like 150 over
Yeah.
2 nights. But let's walk it back to the beginning and hear from Dax's perspective.
Well, I think it all started when we were chatting on Instagram, but then we exchanged cell phone numbers. And I remember it was right before Christmas. I was going down to storage, and I have this religious shrine that I used to pray to when I was younger, and still do. And I called it my Holy Cross of Joy. So it was a Bible. It was a cross that was given to me for my first communion. It was an indigenous piece of art that was wrapped around it, a piece of leather artwork, which is amazing.
Cool.
Then there was a golden cross that was blessed by Pope John Paul II.
Whoa.
Yeah, long story short, the former Archbishop of Halifax, where I'm from, originally Nova Scotia. Shout out Halifax.
Shout out Halifax.
Yeah, my dad's from Italy, so the Archbishop was going to visit the Pope in Italy. So we stopped off my dad's hometown in northern Italy, and he was taking the train down to visit the Pope.
Wow.
And we jumped in the car and drove him down to the train station. And he said, I'm going to give you guys something nice from the Vatican. And that was what he gave us. And there was one more missing piece to this. No, actually, there was 2 missing pieces. I did a film years ago called Weirdsville. And as one of the cast gifts, an actor, his name's Greg Brick, he gave everyone it was like a bull skull, which represented the earth. And it was amazing. So I incorporated that. And then I had a water bottle shaped as the Virgin Mary for holy water. I'm missing the holy water. I haven't seen it in like 10 years. I think I sent you a picture of the Holy Cross of Joy without that, Ryan. So I'm going down to storage, and I'm getting out all the Christmas decorations, and this box drops, and everything goes flying out of it. And I'm like, oh gosh, what? I look down, and it's the Virgin Mary holy water that I was
Oh,
the missing
wow.
piece of this. And I sent Ryan a picture of that right away, and he's like, "Yeah, you can't write this stuff." And
Oh, this is after you guys got into communication. This
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
after y'all started.
This was like a month ago. He
this
sent
is a
this to
week
me.
before we went down to North
And
Carolina.
you've been missing that thing for 10 years.
10 years. It's just
Wow.
synchronicities. It was just
That's the trippy stuff.
that was cool. So I was like, okay, yeah, we're in good hands.
Wow.
The ladies everywhere.
Yeah. That's
Wow.
wild. I'm curious about this Mother Mary shaped water bottle. Can you walk me through that, please? Like, what do you mean by that?
So no, it's basically holy water, but it's shaped like the Virgin Mary, and it has
Okay.
a blue crown on the top to open up the top of the water bottle.
I see.
So it's basically just holy water in the shape of the Virgin Mary.
So it's not a water bottle. It's like a container that I got you.
Yes,
Okay.
holy water container. Sorry,
Water container.
the Virgin Mary water bottle.
Holy, because I was thinking like Aunt Jemima. You know what I mean? When I
Well,
think like, a,
it sounds. That's what I'm picturing.
like a plastic bottle.
Yeah, I'm picturing like an Aunt Jemima-esque bottle, except it's
Oh,
like
man.
Aunt Mary.
Yeah.
I have an Aunt
No,
Mary.
it's Mother Mary.
Right, you're right.
It's
Sorry.
Mother Mary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have this amazing synchronicity leading up to the week. And you did send me this before, and I was just like, you can't make this up, dude. This is crazy. You know, it's obviously the lady. And then you get there and we're talking, and I felt so bad for you guys. I felt like we just brought you through the ringer. It was day one was like 13 hours of just information.
13 and a half.
Oh,
I was good to keep going. I was having a blast. This is like,
yeah.
Front
10
row
o'clock,
seats,
Brad's
like,
starting
great
to tap
story.
out.
yeah.
But we get to the skywatch, and that's kind of what, like, your what happened according to you. What happened? What did
So
you
I remember
experience?
we went to go grab some coffee around 2, I think, but we planned on going to the river later in that afternoon. But just with the sun going down and just time constraints, we're like, we can just do that tomorrow. Like, let's stay here, relax. We'll do the skywatch. And you go, oh yes, guys, at 6 o'clock. My dad's very strict on this. We have to be outside at 6 o'clock. That's when he says that the orbs are going to start showing up. And we layered up because it was a cold night, and we went outside around 5 to 6, and they just started coming in hot, just one after another, and just moving, and beautiful lights, and it's like an organic, beautiful orb, but 100 of them, probably more than 100 of them.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And it was incredible. It was it still hasn't really sunk in yet because it was just so much to take in such a short period of time. It's just I'm still digesting everything. But we went in after about an hour, and we went back in and started chatting a little bit more. And I think it was around 9 o'clock. And I was like, "Let's go. We're going back out, guys." And we
Another
went
half hour. Yeah.
another half hour, just a little more taste. And I think we only maybe saw 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And like Brad said, that was the moment of, okay, this is really something, because there was, as soon as he said they were coming out at 6 o'clock, they were just flying across the sky, and you would see a plane, and then you would see an orb, and you could definitely tell the difference, and it was just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I love hearing people's like accounts of seeing orbs, like either for the first time or like one of the first times you've seen them. It's always the same things, because I think it's like the human condition, like where we try to rationalize it, and and then you compare with other things in the sky that you see, and then it's like the more information you're getting, more and more you're compiling all this information, but it's also happening so fast all at one time. But
Absolutely.
the experience that people like when people retell it, there's a lot of similarities. And I also think it's really cool because many years ago, like the activity wasn't like it is now. Right. I don't know why. I mean, we've talked about, theories as to like why there's so much more activity now, but you lucked out in terms of timing. 10 years ago, it would you'd see them for sure.
You'd see 1 or 2,
but it's like a few. You'd see a few.
Yeah.
And it's like every year that passes, it multiplies.
Yep.
Not just like it like multiplies to where the past few skywatches, at least that I've been a part of, are bare minimum dozens
Yep.
to potentially over 100. But I'm stoked that you guys had that experience and got to like see that stuff, because it really is wild. Like, and I also appreciate you and your perspective as like a skeptic. I come from the same kind of like lens,
Mhm.
and it also takes me a long time to process. And
Absolutely. And to be honest with you, if we didn't even see a single orb, I still believe your father's story 100%. It's just like, I think Brad said, this guy doesn't blow any smoke. Like, he's probably one of the most honest individuals I've ever met in my life. He's just pure, just honest, trying to tell a story of what happened to him. And it's finally, the world's getting to hear it right now, and it's getting out there, and it's fantastic. And I think I think this is going in the right direction.
I appreciate that, man. I actually had a catch up with Brad last night. I don't know if he told you that or if you knew that, but we talked for a good hour and a half.
Oh, nice.
And obviously you came up, and anytime you come up, it's hilarious. I don't know if you're aware of this about yourself, but Jenny, Emily, and I have decided you're literally the funniest guy we've ever met. And maybe that's not coming across to the audience right now because we're talking and we're having a conversation.
Mhm.
But spending 3 days with you, you just don't. You're a phenomenon now to us, and you probably will never know why. But
Thanks, guys. You guys are
funny
great.
guy. And when you come up, it's always something funny. When you send me a message, it's always something funny. And you're just a funny guy. And it's not even, I don't know that you're even trying to be. It's just your aura. You know, we talk about this. Like, there's people like that in life whose aura is just funny.
it's true.
Yeah.
I think some of the funniest people are people who are not trying to be funny.
Yeah.
They just are who they are.
Yeah.
And it is funny.
Yeah. You're a funny guy. But anyway, so I was talking with Brad yesterday, and something he said to me struck a chord with me, because it's like, if I'm going to be honest here, I know my dad's telling the truth, right? Because I've lived it and I've seen it a trillion times, obviously exaggerating, but I've seen it so much that for myself with him, I know it's true. So I don't need that confirmation. But hearing Brad's take was like, wow, that's a really good point. He was telling me, dude, my job is watching people act on camera and seeing if they're telling the truth or not, to see if they're lying about their role. Are they really selling their role? Are they really in on it? And he was like, this is what I do. This is what I'm conditioned to do.
Yeah.
And watching you speak, he watched the Sean Ryan thing. He was like, oh my God, Chris, this was amazing. Like, this was a major win for you, a major victory. He was like, you have no tells. There's no moment when you're telling your story that an alarm goes off in my head that indicates to me you're not being truthful.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to name any names or anything, but he's like, but then I watch all these other interviews, because apparently you're sending them to him. he's like, Dax is sending me all these interviews, and he's like, I'm watching them, and he's like, and I see these tells, and my alarm goes off.
Yeah.
So that was a really interesting perspective shift for me. You know, like, I don't know, that really struck a chord with me.
No, absolutely. And it's the story never gets tiring or old. It's just there's always something that just, oh my God, that makes sense, and this makes sense, and it's great. It's I'm very happy for him.
One thing that has like struck a chord with me about you and Peter is I'm always so impressed that you guys don't really care to like go out on a limb and talk about this stuff with any sort of worry. Does that ever worry you? Like, being an actor and you've been in some pretty big movies.
To be honest with you, I'm enjoying this journey, and I think it's very important, and it's you can't please everyone, and to be honest with you, I'm over that. So it's very liberating as well, because like before, like you asked me to go on the podcast, and not that I don't want to talk about this topic, but I'm not an expert by any means. I don't know what this is. I'm learning as I go, and I think we're all learning as we go. So the more we can all try to bring our knowledge together and grow and trying to figure out what this phenomenon is, then we're getting closer to an end goal, instead of hearing a bunch of bullshit. Can I say bullshit?
Yes,
you can
please.
say whatever you want.
Fuck it.
Instead of hearing a bunch of motherfucking bullshit out there that I don't know if it's true or not. So, let's try to find some truth in all of this, and
Yeah.
move forward as a world, instead of going down this dark path that we're going down right now. So it's,
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It takes courage to like stand out, in a public way in support of something, even though like knowing that potentially it could have some sort of repercussion on your, reputation or whatever. I was honestly really shocked when you and Peter both agreed to do our
My
show.
reputation is keeping it real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's also like, imagine there being repercussions for talking about such like a positive, hopeful, like uplifting thing.
I mean, I agree.
Of course.
But we've experienced that.
Of course.
You know what the thing is? There's probably so many actors that are sitting home right now going, oh, I have a story that I maybe I should tell my story. So if there are any actors out there that want to share their story, hit up my boy Ryan Bledsoe and get on his podcast because it's amazing and the world needs to hear your stories.
Yeah. And honestly, like that would be a cool thing for us to do. Like, helping other people tell their stories.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And it's funny because you wouldn't think it sometimes. Sometimes it feels like this is a smaller, more niche thing than it is.
Yes.
But you find everybody's got a story. Everybody has like a phenomenon story.
Whether it's ghosts, yes, everybody has a story.
Spirits, UFOs, orbs, like everybody's got
my
one.
grandfather died and I heard a message on my something, on my phone. You're right. I'm starting to notice like almost everybody has a story, whether they even believe in this stuff or not.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy.
It's to the surface now. It's like those things that you thought were fantastical and might not be possible. It's like, again, skepticism, a healthy skepticism, but there's probably a good chance that they do hold some truth. So it's just stay open to everything until we know what the actual truth is. And man, it's an interesting, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, it is fascinating.
Yeah.
I love hearing people's stories. And as someone who is like a little more skeptical, like you can I still love to hear them either way. Like if you have a pretty good radar, I feel like I have a decent radar for BS. I have my antennas pretty tuned, I would say, but I'm never going to be listening to somebody's story and be like, oh, dude, this bullshit. Like I still want to hear their truth and their story regardless. But like it is the ones where, like Brad, where you see there's no facade, there's no putting on, there's no nothing. Those are the ones that it's like sifting, sifting sand for gems. Those are the ones that you're doing it for. And when you hear those stories, it's enriching, I feel. Absolutely.
It's another thing that got me really interested in like all consciousness and the possibility of all these, I don't know the woo woo of possibly, this might not be a thing. I was working on a film in the Cayman Islands, and it was during COVID, so I went and stayed with my cousin Peter in LA on the way back to Toronto, just for a week. And I walked into the house and he's sitting on the couch and he has this, it's called the mindfold mask. So I'm not sure if you're familiar with it.
I don't know if Monroe made it, but
they recommend it.
They use it a lot. Yeah.
It has foam on the outside. So like basically you can stare at the sun. It's like a blast shield if you want to use another Star Wars reference.
Thank you.
Yes. So you stare at the sun, you don't see any light at all. So Peter's sitting on the chair. He gets up, he goes into the washroom, he comes out, he walks around his pool, he comes back and sits down. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? What is that? He goes, oh, I'm just working on my mind sight. And what is this mind sight? He goes, well, basically it's, that's your pineal gland and you don't need your eyes to see. And it's basically, I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, put it on. So I put on the mask and I couldn't see anything. I go, so how does it work? He goes, okay, give me the mask. He put the mask back on and he's like, okay, put a number on your phone and hold it up to me. So I'm about 6 feet away from him. I put like 711 and I hold it up and he goes, basically it's like a screen that opens up that you can see through and it's like a light comes in. And so basically it's, you use your third eye to see whatever is out there. And he goes, 711. I was skeptical once again. I was like, no, not a chance. So show me a picture. So I type in, both of our dads are from this small town in this northern Italian village. It's called Revo, population like 1,100 people. Beautiful.
They're brothers, right? Your dad's your brothers?
They're second cousins.
Okay.
Yeah. So like no one knows what this place looks like unless you're from there. So I hold up a picture of the town square and it takes him a second, and he starts smiling, and he goes, "Revo?" And like the spoon, I dropped my phone. I was like, "What? How? Explain." And anyway, we watched this documentary that night called Superhumans, which basically talks about how,
I've heard of it.
yeah, it's like a right brain, left brain. You can see without your eyes because it's just it's like another sense that we have, that it's like lost knowledge. But yeah, it's a thing. So I was just like, that's amazing. And then I started, doing some studies on this, and I think your dad knows this guy, Robert Freeman. He has this YouTube channel teaching people mindset. So there was a woman that was going blind, and I remember she had the mindful mask on, and we're on a Zoom call, and he's holding up these colored cards with numbers on them. And, she's doing the technique through the screen, and, she sees like red 2. He's like, yeah, good job. Yellow 4. Yep. Good job. And then he takes one of the cards and holds it out of frame of the computer screen underneath the desk. So this is like, you can't see anything. And she got it right. And then that was just another door that opened up with consciousness. Because
Yeah.
that's, what that's going to. So like remote viewing and consciousnness. And
Oh yeah.
it's so interesting, but people just
Or really telepathy, perhaps.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um,
Shout out.
yeah, that's where I was headed, but maybe you read my mind.
Telepathy.
I really feel like there is a new paradigm emerging right now, rapidly before our eyes. And it
Absolutely.
once was in the underground. Now it's blossoming like a lotus. It's folding out into the mainstream, and it's hitting mass appeal. And
You mean like psychic, like consciousness
all
type
of it,
stuff? Yeah.
all
yeah.
of it, the orbs.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. And I was going to ask, I know because you just shouted them out, so but Nick and Alex, even though you're not a microphone, I want to ask you guys: have you heard of the telepathy tapes yet?
Wait, what is it? I've been seeing
It's
something.
brand new.
I've been seeing something.
It's everywhere. Joe
late-
Rogan talked about it.
Is this where like kids and their moms,
Autistic kids.
autistic
they're
kids? I was
nonverbal.
literally about to bring
Bro.
this up. I didn't know it was called the telepathy.
Yes.
We were communicating telepathically just now. I swear I was just about to bring it up.
Yeah.
I didn't know it was called that.
Oh, I could see it in your mind.
Oh, okay.
Me
you
and
a-
Brad were talking about this yesterday.
Uh-huh.
Dude, this is amazing.
It really is.
I got 100 messages. Look, listen to the telepathy tapes. Listen to the telepathy tapes. And I was like, okay, I get a lot of information recommended to me.
Mhm.
So when I go to the gym now, or if I'm like driving around town doing errands or whatever, oftentimes I'll play a podcast, and I'll stop it when I get out of the car, or I'll stop it when I leave the gym. And it's like, all right, tomorrow I'll pick it back up. You know what I mean? And right now I'm doing that with the telepathy tapes. And I have to say, it is riveting. Have you heard it yet, Dex?
I've finished them all, and it's fantastic. It's you can't fabricate that. You know what I
No.
mean? It's like one case alone is
It's riveting, dude.
incredible, but the fact that there's so many different cases and they intertwine together, of course, there's going to be skepticism towards this because there's people in the field that have been doing this for years, and it's just a newfound approach of all this. And I'm no expert by any means, but it's just, you can't make this stuff up, and it's so incredible, and it's going to hopefully just enrich or change and help communication in this area and field of study.
There's an overlap with what they're doing and what we're doing. And truth be told, I would love to get a hold of Kai Dickens, which, by the way,
Dickens.
she's a Dickens.
Yeah, Dickens.
I'm a Dickens.
Yep.
My middle name is Dickens. So maybe no relation there, but I thought that was a very interesting synchronicity. But so the reason it's so good is because Kai Dickens is a documentary filmmaker.
Mhm.
So she takes that approach with the podcast. It's not like a couple of dorks like us just talking.
Mhm.
It's actually like a documentary.
Right. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But it's
Yeah.
an audio format. So she has the scientists. She fully records the sessions with the
Mhm.
children, with the scientists.
See, that's what I've seen a lot of the videos.
I haven't even seen video. I didn't know there was video.
Oh, I've seen a bunch of videos.
Oh, okay, cool.
There's a bunch of haters though, like, oh, this isn't real.
There
This is
are.
doing a study the
Hell
wrong way. It's like, just be open-minded to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a chance instead of shooting it down.
But my whole point to bring up the telepathy tapes is with that being hot and trending right now, and then with the orb phenomenon being trending around the world, like I really feel like we are rapidly seeing the emergence of a new paradigm, and it's so amazing and so cool. And like Mindsight, you talked about Mindsight. I have a friend named Hakeem. He's very into the Mindsight thing, and he's actually like close friends with some of the people. I don't know their name. I don't know these people just from talking to him as a secondhand, like he knows like the people who kind of like Joe McMoneagle is the remote viewing. He knows the Mindsight OGs, and he like learns under them directly, and he does this, he practices this. We've talked about this, and it's a very fascinating phenomenon. But basically, it's as he said, it's like it's not quite remote viewing. It's wearing the blindfold and then imagining that pinhole space where originally it's a pinhole, and as you practice this, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger to where you can fully see without your eyes, and like it's real. So
it's
we
like,
have,
if you're like younger children are able to do it,
yes,
the older you get, the harder it is. Like
especially
you're still able to transition your mind to like it's more of a right brain, left brain, but it's just basically like something that just goes away. Like be it all the distractions out there, and yeah, check out
orbs.
the documentary. I think Caroline Corey did. It was called Superhumans. It's great. It's very interesting. But I think they're all tied in together, like remote viewing, and then the mind sight, and just consciousness, and like
Telepathy,
out of body experience.
orbs, yeah, out of body experiences.
Yeah, it's all consciousness based, and that's incredible. Like that's where this all. That's the source of all this, I think.
Yeah, I feel like at one point, and Nick and Alex could verify this too, because like they've been officially working on this project for 4 years now. Well, this summer it'll be 4 years. So we've all been kind of working on this together, and they've been thrust into this world. And I feel like at first it kind of felt like rolling a boulder up a hill, like Sisyphus. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like this is not mass appeal yet. This is, still niche, still underground. Even then, even after 2017, it still kind of felt that way. And in the last year, especially since December with the drone thing and now the telepathy tapes, and there's so many other things, new whistleblowers coming out. We're having mass sightings when we do festivals. It's like it starts to feel like that boulder's rolling down the hill now.
It does. It does. Like seeing all the stuff in the media and stuff is one thing, and I think that's fascinating. But my cynicism or skepticism, whatever you want to call it, tells me like, oh, they're just running with a story or whatever. The thing that is like mega compelling was doing the skywatches, and like, at first there's a little bit of like I've seen, stuff with the Bledsoe so many times, right?
Yeah,
plenty of
times.
times. But then when you get a big crowd or it's like, well, okay, this is like different.
Nervous.
Yeah, it's a little nervous.
I was very nervous.
It's a little nerve-wracking.
Stressed.
Yeah.
Because you're like,
it's pressure.
It's your life story. It's like it's been your whole family's, it's your life, like your entire life for the past, since 2007. And so it's like there's pressure. And I'm sitting there like,
what if 200 people go home and say, oh, it ain't real? That was in my mind.
But then it starts happening, dude. And first it's like 70 people, and like, oh shit, dude, it's there, it's happening. And then it's 200 people. It's like, that's the thing that started to fully convince me, like, there actually really is something changing in the world.
There's something larger
Absolutely.
happening.
Yeah,
I feel that too.
And like you said, if there's one person that's like, just a non-believer, or just hesitant and just not into it, that can change the outcome for everyone's experience. It was really interesting. I forgot to mention this. When I was in the Cayman Islands, we were all around this fire one night. There's about 5 or 6 of us, and we were talking about evolution. I made a comment about some type of like, oh yeah, there's had to been some type of interjection and help to get us to where we're at right now, because it just doesn't make sense. And I remember there was like 1 or 2 of the group that just giggled, and the other 4 that didn't giggle, we saw this massive bright light orb, made no noise. It was a quiet, crystal clear night overlooking the ocean. There was not an airplane, anything in sight, but it just slowly moved across the sky, stopped. And as my phone's going up, it's like,
Yep.
That's how it goes.
Yeah, kind of like they didn't believe what you said, but trust me, you're on the right track with something
for
with
you. Yeah.
And all the other people that saw it were like, you saw that too? I was like, yep. Yep, we did.
Let's walk through this for a second. Really, let's explore this, okay? Because just a mere days ago, at the time of recording this, right? I'm not going to linger on the Sean Ryan thing, but it just came out like 3 days ago from our present perspective, right?
Yes.
Something my dad said on there is relevant to what you just said, and I want to explore this really from a logical perspective.
Absolutely.
So Dad said on that show, I've been with a crowd of 50 people, and there's one skeptic. and 49 people look up and see an orb when that skeptic looked down and didn't see it.
Mm-hmm.
And people mock. They're like, oh, really? So the one person who didn't believe, how convenient. You know what I'm saying? But we have government whistleblowers coming out right now within the last 30 days and saying, hey, guys, we have a team of psionic assets. And we're finding out that the beings, they have their own way of describing it, their own language, their own, their own narrative. But just to explore that narrative even, they say that the beings like your brainwaves, and you have to be in a certain brainwave state to connect with it. So we have a team of operators who wear blindfolds and, connect with it through these meditation exercises and train, and they see it. So it's really not that crazy anymore when you think about the concept that the one or two skeptical people are going to be the ones who don't see it. It's logic, knowing what we know about this phenomenon and how it is a consciousness-based phenomenon, and it connects with your mind telepathically, right? There's a trend that's building here with all of this emerging knowledge. It's a telepathic connection with these beings. So someone might laugh at you and say, oh, how convenient, the two people or the three or four or whatever that were giggling, they didn't see it. Well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock, because they weren't connected to the idea of it, the opportunity or the possibility of it. So why should they see it? Why would they? Why would it present themselves to them? It would wait for them to not be in that moment where they're looking to see it, because you know why? I think if they saw it, it would have great devastation on their mind, and it would completely dissolve. It would be like an ego death, in my opinion, for someone who's not ready to see this, not ready to connect with this. And then all of a sudden, wham, it flashes in your face. It's like horror. Like, oh my God, like.
And I respect people that have that type of perspective, because some people just don't want to go down that road, and
and that's okay.
Never force it like this topic upon anyone, but it's just, be open to certain things, because 101 night, like 100. That's amazing.
That's a lot.
Incredible.
That's a lot. I've only had 2 nights like that in my life, and they've both been within the last few months. And one of them was with Nick and Alex and 200 other people. My dad, my family, but 200 other people. And I really impressed this on you that night. Like, dude, this ain't a normal night, fellas.
Yeah. Can we talk about the one that we saw right after your father showed us where he first encountered the lady? Because the
daytime?
That wasn't a plane.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
That was incredible. It just, my neck was sore by the second day, because the whole day I was just like,
I don't know if I've heard this one. I'm
haven't.
On the edge of my seat. Let me hear it.
Ryan, I'll let you tell this one.
All right, sure. I'll be honored. So it was the morning that we got up to come to Wilmington. So the day we recorded with Brad, right?
Okay.
On the way out of town, as you know, 87.
Oh, from Fayetteville.
Yes,
okay, gotcha.
Yeah. On the way to 87 to head to Wilmington, we went to my old house. And my grandma was there. Remember, I made a joke to y'all that on Brad's episode, if anyone goes back, I was like, and my grandma gave you fudge this morning.
You went to your old house?
Amazing. She's
the old one.
On Cypress Lakes Road?
Yeah.
Do you know the people that live there?
But my grandma lives there, so we're like in her yard.
I got you.
Yeah. So they wanted to see the original location, so we went to my grandma's house, and then we went to the river. And then we hit to Wilmington. So while we're at my grandma's house, we walk inside. Brad's taking footage of Mama Faye's house, and me and Dax are cutting up, probably saying some of the most stupid stuff. And Peter's like kind of following along. He's in on it. He's really, because he didn't know the story. He hadn't read he had just, as far as I know, he had kind of just found out about it, right? Because of you.
He was familiar with the majority of the story, yes.
Yeah, but still learning, still
learning, yes.
In on the discovery, and
absolutely.
So he was really like paying attention. And anyway, so Dad and Brad and Peter are walking around. They're doing a lot of talking. Me and Emily and Dax and Jenny and Jack are kind of just, we're in the background, kind of, in and out of their conversation, right? So Mama Faye gives us fudge. We take our pictures, hugs. Sorry we made you miss church. And then we go to the backyard. We start hitting the spots. The lady appeared here. The being appeared here. It's like maybe an hour or so, I don't know, of exploring the yard. And when we wrap that and we're leaving the house, about to leave the house, we're still in the backyard, but we're about to leave. And Dax and I, do you remember my grandma's yard? There was those, like between our yards, there was those metal deer.
Yeah,
they're still there, and we would sit on them, and we were kids, and we ride them and stuff.
Yeah.
Dax and I are leaning on those deer, and the guys are walking around. They're talking, Dad, Brad, and Peter. And me and Dax are like by these deer, and I think I'm like sitting on it. And Dax looks up and he's like, "That's not a plane." And we look up, and sure enough, it's a glowing orb. Like I think we got video of it.
We do.
We have photos of it.
Like how high up? Like how high they typically are?
I can show you.
Or
can we drop this in later, Alex? Make a note of that. Okay.
I would like to see it.
Yeah, I will.
I pass by that house. I pass by that house every time I go home to Fayetteville, and I always like, somebody else lives there now,
the video,
and I'm all.
Yeah, well, to pick up what he was saying, somebody else lives there now. So, but sorry, I threw him off track because I'm showing you footage. But
if that's a plane, man, that's a weird looking.
Yeah. Hey, here's the thing: like planes don't move like this.
No,
they don't go like that.
Yeah, we have some photos of it too. I mean, Dax was on this thing; he was locked in, and like the other guys were busy. They were chatting. They weren't like really paying attention. And Dax and I kind of had a moment, like, "Oh wow, that's a daytime orb."
What the heck?
It was actually a plane that flew by at the same.
Yeah, a plane flew by it.
That's so funny
in the video, but that's not from that. That's because you could actually differentiate between the actual plane because you could see it. Like you pretty much see the writing on the side of it. This one is like blurry.
It's weird.
I sent the footage to Alex to drop in the episode.
It's like a strange shape. Also, that seems to be lower than I would say the majority of
Dude,
them.
it was glowing. Like, I think you have more footage than me. I took one little video. So whatever you got, if you don't mind sending that, and in post-production, we'll drop it in so that the people watching can see.
That was
But
wild.
Dax was locked in. He was like, dude. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh yeah, that is something, isn't it? He's like, dude. And he's like, taking pictures.
In the video, I think you can hear your dad going, "That's not a plane." Incredible.
Yeah.
It was profound. It was right after we were right at the spot where the lady appeared to your father. So it was just more synchronicities.
Yeah. And then we went from there to the river, and then, we made it to the beach. But yeah, that was an incredible weekend for sure.
Yeah,
if you've got just a little time left in you, I would be remiss if we didn't talk acting, because this is what you do. And it's very cool. Like, since Nick and I were children, we've always kind of bonded over like movies, obviously music, video games, but movies. That's kind of like a big thing. And I
have this very fond memory of Ryan and I at young teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
We went to go see Transformers 2.
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah. It's one of the first movies we saw together.
I mean, we're probably
the first.
We're probably 14.
I was 15. I'm a year ahead. So
right.
I was 15. You were 14.
Right. We see Transformers 2, and we were so enthralled by this pure cinema that is Transformers 2.
But it is.
That we came home
Amazing.
And we reenacted the entire movie for your mom.
We did?
You don't remember that? Ask your mom. Ask your mom. Next time you talk to your mom, ask her.
You got me on that one.
She will. I promise you she'll remember it. Dude, she used to ask us to do it.
I don't remember.
Nice.
It's forever ago. Anyway, that was me corroborating the fact that we really bond over movies.
Yeah.
So.
And still do, and still watch movies and have movie nights.
Have you seen the new Transformers?
Which the new one? Like, what's it called?
The last one that just came out.
Are
we talking the animated one?
No.
Or there's a live action.
Oh, you mean Transformers 1?
Yes.
I have not seen it.
Okay.
I heard it was awesome.
Have you seen it?
I have. There's so many amazing movies out there to see right now. It's it's hard to stay on top of everything between podcasts. I just gave up on watching Netflix series or anything like that. It's too much to keep up on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we huge fans of the Transformers movies right here.
Yeah, what just movies in
Ron Perlman's the voice of what's the character's name again?
Who? Optimus? Megatron?
Yeah,
no, Optimus is Chris Hemsworth. So is he
maybe
the bad guy? Megatron?
Bad Optimus. The bad Optimus.
Megatron.
Megatron.
Dude, that's sick. I didn't know that. Shout out Ron Perlman.
Shout out Hellboy.
Yes. I love Ron Perlman. Dax is a friend of Ron's.
He's so awesome.
Yeah, I love Ron Perlman. Would love to meet.
Beautiful guy.
Enough said. Would love to meet Ron Perlman. But
he's freaking Hellboy, dude.
Oh,
Ron, you got to get on the podcast, Ronnie.
Let's go.
Yes, I would love to have. I already have an Uncle Ronnie, but I could have two Uncle Ronnies.
Yeah,
and I would be thrilled. But anyway, so enough of that. Acting. I want to know like how you got into acting, your experience with acting, what it's like for you, and then also, if you feel like your spiritual component of yourself blends with that, and I'm sure you know what I mean when I say that. But
yes, Well, to start off with, I went to school. I wanted to be a police officer, so I did a double major in criminology and sociology. And then my last year that I was in university in Halifax, I saw this posting on the wall. It said auditions for Streetcar Named Desire. I always wanted to get into acting. It was just something that interests me. Um, so I auditioned. I got the part. I ended up playing Stanley Kowalski. So it was great. It was like a university play, and that was my first professional job that I had um, as an actor, I guess. And it was life changing. So then I auditioned for a school in Toronto. Um, got into that for the theater arts program, and yeah, did a few years of that, and then just ended up getting into film and television. And the main reason why I was interested in acting, it's I remember when I was a kid, you had those books where it's like write down what you want to be when you grow up. So it was like fireman, like doctor, TV. I think it said TV star. So I remember like I had this little check mark on that. So that was like back then. But I never really had any. There was no acting role models in my life. And cut to my cousin Peter. He grew up in New York, and he was just starting out acting, and he booked this big feature film shooting in Halifax. So, I was at the gym one day, and I'm on the payphone, hey mom, I'll be home soon. She's like, oh, by the way, your cousin Peter is here, the actor from New York. He's doing a movie. I was like, okay, cool. I'll be home soon. I'll see you. I get home, and I meet Peter for the first time, and it's like, we just vibed, and I was like, yeah, you got to get me on the movie you're doing. Like, I'll be an extra, or I'll do a stand in. And cut to Alex, you'll appreciate this one. John Dunsworth, R.I.P., was the casting director in Halifax at the time.
Alex, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I know you can't see him. You just dropped his jaw.
Yeah, it's Mr. Leahy from the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, that was a jaw dropper for him. So anyway, please continue.
He brought me in the office. He goes, so you want to get into acting? You're gonna be a photo double. You're gonna drive this car down the highway. And I was on set. I drove this car down the highway, and that was my first little taste of acting. And just kept in touch with Peter. Told him that I booked this play, and then I got into theater school, and just kept in touch. He's always been like an inspiration and like a role model in this business for me. We haven't worked together yet, but that's I think that's coming up soon. It's just a matter of time. So.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was. So I left theater school, and then I went back to Halifax because there was a bunch of films being shot that summer. And I remember I didn't have an agent. I had this headshot and resume, and I dropped into this production office one day. The back door was open. I snuck in. I had my headshot and resume, and I run into these two ladies, and they're like, "Excuse me, sir, can we help you?" I'm like, "Hey, I'm here to drop off my resume. I don't have an agent. I'm just what are you guys filming anyway?" And they go. It's a movie with Mariah Carey. It's called Wise Girls. I'm like, oh yeah, that's perfect. Huge fan. And then this guy pulls up on this little mini bicycle, and he goes, "Who's this guy?" And they go, "Well, he kind of just broke in and dropped off his resume." And he kind of looked at me, and goes, "He'd be good for Tony." And then he takes off on the bicycle, and I'm like, "Who's that?" They go, "That's David Ansbau." David Asbell has directed like Hoosiers and Rudy.
Whoa.
Wow.
Next thing you know, I had to audition for it, and I booked the part, and the casting director, she called me up, and she's like, Dax, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't have an agent. What? I just thought I'd drop off and see what was going on. She's like, okay, well, you booked the part, and they said that you had the biggest balls they'd ever encountered.
I told you he's funny, man.
I'm just trying to get a job. So, it's been ups and downs and great learning experiences. And
can you imagine that? Can you imagine being that director and just like rolling up on his mini bike and being like, "Who the hell is this? You're perfect." Like everything you do just has.
You got guts, kid.
Yeah,
you got guts, kid.
That's amazing.
So, how old were you when that happened?
I was 23.
Dude, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's
really man.
Incredible.
I got to work with a lot of great people, and a lot of great experiences, and the story is just getting started, I think. So it's right when you say how does it relate to like spirituality, it's like I finally feel like I'm in like my zone right now. So I'm like on the top of my game, and it's just whatever comes, and it's I'm just enjoying life and growing.
That's awesome. That's sick. I think
growing. You never stop growing.
It's one of the coolest day jobs to have, I think.
Absolutely.
Being an actor, it's awesome. Do you have can you hit us with your faves, like favorite movies?
AKA our watch list.
Yeah.
Well, the first movie that I ever saw in the theaters was Empire Strikes Back. Like I think it was
Woo! Let's go.
1 or 82. Not to age myself. But that was amazing. Like I was hooked on the Star Wars franchise. Back in the day where you had to like rent the VCR player from the store and just,
Oh yeah.
every Saturday we would get the VCR rented and just Star Wars again. Like they wouldn't even ask. They just slapped them both on the counter and be like, here you go. Yeah, huge fan. My tastes are all over the board. I have so many different. I love watching documentaries. I love watching, just old movies. The Streetcar Named Desire actually was one of my favorite films. Coincidentally, before I actually did the play, so that was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah, man. So many different choices. I'm blanking right now, but yeah.
That's
awesome.
funny how that works out.
What about did you have any like you mentioned a minute ago like actors that you looked up to? Do you have a couple that are like your beacon of light in terms of actors that you looked up to, or you like appreciated the way that they kind of like execute their craft?
I just love people that just, stay humble and just actors that are nice people. And I've had such great experiences working with actors that, I have looked up to and they ended up being very nice people. Like Bob Saget, I got to like experience.
R.I.P.
Yeah, he's amazing. R.I.P. Bob Saget, man.
Mm-hmm.
He was great. We were on the Cayman Islands filming this movie, so we only had like one small scene that I was in that he was in, but we just, we hung out all the time and smoke cigars on the beach and drink margaritas, and I'd keep asking him all these old school stories of the past, and he was just a very humble, nice, sweet man, and yeah, he's missed. And the film that I did with him it's called Daniel's Gotta Die, and coincidentally, it comes out on February 21st.
What? The
Yeah.
same day as Peter's movie.
Yeah, he was saying the other day, it was
Unbreakable Boy.
No way.
Yeah.
And that's happened with us like twice in the last year. So I'm like, it's bound to happen that we're
Come
going to work
on.
together
Just
eventually.
one more step there. Yeah, just
Yeah,
get
man.
on the movie.
It's getting a US release theatrically and on demand as well. So
amazing.
yeah, that'll be really cool. Just I can just see him up there right now. It's like finally they're playing my movie. Like
yeah, because he died quite a while ago.
A couple of years.
Yeah, it was 3 years ago he passed in January.
Wow.
We went at the Skywatch. There was this amazing moment. I'm looking up at this guy and I thought of Bob for a second. I was like, come on, Bob. I know you're one of these up here. And all of a sudden, you and your sister started singing the theme song to Full House.
Yes.
No way.
Yeah, we did actually.
Like, you can't write this stuff. Like, it was amazing.
It was the night at my parents' house where we saw the 100 orbs. Yeah. And out of nowhere, I don't remember who it was, probably Emily. Just everywhere you look. And he starts like, oh my God.
We have this on video as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. We do have a video.
Unbelievable.
I swear to God. Yeah.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Because it was like everywhere you look, there was an orb, So we were just singing the song like it. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's why it popped into our head because you were intensely thinking about. I mean, it's not like we do that a lot. Have you ever heard us do that?
No, but maybe
never.
somebody there was looking around and was like, "Oh, it's like they're everywhere you look," and then it.
I don't know. It wasn't even like it. Just was like just started singing the song like it was just a
that
moment.
Is so
We've
wild,
never done that.
dude.
It was a great moment.
In the moment that he was thinking about his friend Bob,
which
Saget.
We didn't know.
Of course, of course not. Yeah,
he didn't say, "Oh wow, I'm really thinking of Bob Saget."
Right? Exactly. Talk about telepathy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I think telepathy really, especially after hearing the telepathy tapes and thinking about just things lately. I'm really thinking like telepathy might be the key to all of this.
How do you mean?
Well, all of this phenomenon is connected with telepathy. It's some sort of communication with the mind, whether it's, seeing through your eyes or hearing other people's thoughts or communicating with these beings. Like, I feel like it's a very important aspect of this.
That's a good point.
Definitely.
That never before was ever considered as real. Now I'm like, I think it's real. I think telepathy is real.
Oh, yeah.
And it could take many forms.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
not just reading minds like Charles Xavier.
It's picking up on things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, yeah.
Every day we're learning something new, and it's just we're going in the right direction. So
yeah,
more empowerment, and yeah. I think the whole world's going to start realizing that this is like, okay, so this is something that happens, and they're just going to accept it. And people have different views of what it's going to be, and I just love your dad's perspective because it's positivity and it's about love. And if you get a lot of that, I think you said, Ryan, in one of your episodes that all it takes is 1% of the world's population to make this change, and it's like I think that's that's probably way more than that right now in the world. What's going on? It's it's definitely going in the right direction.
Like maybe alternative way to put it is the change is already happening. That's how I think about it. It's already happening.
It feels that way.
It's just unfolding.
Mhm.
It's like there's no more work that really needs to be done for the change. It just now has to roll down the hill, which it's already doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, yeah.
It feels like the more people that I meet and interact with, it's like more people than ever are into some form of new age spirituality in some shape or form. Like everybody.
Or mystical thinking. Or,
yeah.
Alternative.
Everybody got crystals, dude. Everybody got crystals.
Yeah.
It's like it seems like every year there's more and more and more people who are open-minded to all of these strange spiritual phenomenon that are going on. And I think we as a species are like learning together.
Yeah, we're evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't stop looking out my window. It's like once you see this kind of stuff, it's like you want to keep seeing it, and you have like just a longing to see it again because it's fantastic. It's seeing them from far away is amazing, but just like that one day that you're going to see it very close is going to be that's going to be a really cool moment. So it's remember your dad said you're going to see them all the time now. They're going to be with you. And on the plane ride home, I'm flying in, I'm stopping over in LaGuardia.
Oh, yeah.
It's his footage.
Yeah.
That my dad posted the other day.
And as we're descending, it's like I see this bright light out of the window. It's not under the plane. I don't think it's the moon or a planet because it looked very close. And I start filming, and I just felt this like you saw the tape, Ryan. It's just like that
it's
in my mind. But I'm still skeptical. But I know that was something that didn't belong there. But I think it did belong there, and it was that was incredible. But it was right before that. I just felt really emotional because I felt I had such an amazing weekend and so many great experiences, and I just to be honest with you, I think there was like tears going down my eyes because I felt really emotional, and then I looked out the window and that's what I saw. So it was
wow, that's beautiful.
It was a very, very great moment. And
the context, that's so beautiful. The video is astounding.
But the filter on it though, that's what then it's like, man, that's
the thing that does it.
Yeah.
What was it like a negative filter, or was it like a night vision filter?
I think it was like a night vision filter.
Yeah.
So just messed around with it, and it just
where you can just see it, and it is close.
X-ray, I think it was.
And it seems like it's like moving at the same speed that the plane is moving. It's like it's staying in the same perspective of the plane. It's really, it's one of the most bizarre videos I've seen. Period. It
was a cool moment.
My dad's he just posted it on Twitter the other day, and it's been getting some buzz. Like there's been quite a few comments and views on it. But
nice.
Something I'm realizing as we do this more, as we host more and more crowds, or just do these kinds of things where you get to this high state of 100 orbs, oh my God, 200 people, or do a retreat at Monroe, and it's this life-changing experience, whatever the form it takes, and you get to that point to where it was so amazing. The thing I'm learning is when it ends and it comes crashing to a stop, and your life goes back to normal, it's so hard. It's for a little while. It's like, I totally resonate with that. Like getting on the plane and you go home and it's emotional. It's like, oh, where do I go from here? What's next?
Man. I was like singing "Hold Me Closer," Tiny Dan's like the end of Almost Famous on the bus ride. I was like, man, that weekend was so amazing. And I look out the window and it's like, okay, that just happened.
It's still here. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
And that's why I think you saw that on that flight, was because it's showing you. It's like, no, it's not over. Like it's still here. This is your life.
Yes.
It's you.
It's you.
It's with you.
This is your life. Yeah. And this can always be accessed. This can always be experienced. You just have to remember that place that we were at in your mind and in your heart.
Yeah.
It's going to increase.
Stay humble.
It's going to increase for you. And Peter too. Peter texted me a little bit ago. Or no, he said it on the show. He was like, Brad went home, Dax went home, they saw something, and he was like, I haven't seen something yet. Oh, I guess you haven't heard his episode because at the time of recording this, it's not out. It comes out next week, right?
Amazing.
But on the show, he was like, Dax has seen something, Brad's seen something, and he was like, and I had to kind of think about it, like, I haven't seen something yet. And we're like, Peter, it's been 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Like, you got the rest of your life, man.
Don't
Like,
think about it; it'll happen. Just
it will happen. It's going to happen. Like, it's up from here.
Yeah, I remember listening to something. It was they were talking about this person that was doing remote viewing, and they got like 10 out of 10 right of the targets.
Yeah.
And then they got a little excited that they could do that, and then they try to do it again, and it didn't work because you're thinking about it, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
you're shutting off whatever that access point is. So little things like that are just little things we can do to open up to this. So.
Yeah. Wow. Dude, you're awesome. You're
Amazing.
amazing.
Thank you so
Peter's
much.
amazing.
You're awesome.
Thank you, dude. You are a brother to me now. You're in this for the long haul. I'm always going to be roping you back in one way or another. Our communications going forward. And I really appreciate that and your friendship
Absolutely, man.
and the energy and opportunity that you've brought into my life. And you're just an awesome guy, man. Thank you for doing the show.
It's a pleasure, and I respect that and appreciate all of that. It's just like I said, after I read your dad's book, I was just like, okay, this is the real deal. So it was just really great to meet you guys, and yeah,
It's great to meet you, Dax.
nothing but love.
Yeah, nothing but love, man. Brotherhood. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel. Brotherhood. So
Absolutely.
are there any upcoming projects that you'd like to point people towards, or your social medias, whatever you've got going on where we can kind of try to push people in that direction?
I have a film that's coming out. I'm not sure the exact release date yet, but it's called Little Lorraine. It was shot in Cape Breton, Nova Scotia. Director's name is Andy Hines. His first feature. Fantastic movie. A lot of great actors in there. My buddy Josh Close, Jay Balvin's. It's his feature film debut. You guys got to get him down for a skywatch.
I would love that, man. Do y'all know who Jay Balvin is?
I do, yeah.
He's like massive.
Yeah.
Where's he from again?
He's from Colombia.
Okay, so in Colombia, he's like a star.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
he's-
yeah.
And I know this because he follows my dad, and I looked into him. I was like, "Whoa!" Like before I even spoke with Dax, like he followed my dad. He had like
All right, someone
52
turn this into a
million
TikTok.
followers.
Jay Balvin, you got to go meet my man Chris Bledsoe and do a skywatch.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you, Jay Balvin. No, but seriously, it just blew my mind. He followed my dad, and I looked at his account. I was like, "Holy shit! He has 52 million followers. Who is this guy?" And Dax is like, "Yeah, I'm doing a movie with him." It's just
I never
interesting.
do any scenes with him, but yeah, I just heard nothing but great things from the people that I know that worked with him on the film. So
That's awesome.
yeah, it's just every day is just hustling away and just working hard at becoming a better person and becoming just settling into the new Dax,
I like that.
better Dax.
I like that.
Love that.
Yeah,
You said the movie's called Little Lorraine?
Little Lorraine.
Little Lorraine. Love
Yes.
that. Check it out, everybody.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
And I'm also I'm getting into I guess I'm producing my first feature with two amazing directors, and it's called Best Ship is Friendship.
Ooh.
So the concept is fantastic. These guys are former special effects guys, but just their vision and their work is it's phenomenal. It's basically about like a bunch of dreamers that go on this luxury super yacht to film the music video for this artist. I play the artist. It's
Oh, no way.
yeah, it's like a dream role. And when they're in the middle of the ocean, everything goes to hell, and they're being stalked by a sea monster.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds
And
crazy.
it's special effects guys too, dude.
Oh, they're incredible. It's they're fantastic.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, that does sound cool. Any idea when that was?
Shannon Ray, shout out to Shannon Ray.
Shout out Shan Ray.
That's
Yeah,
a cool
Yeah,
concept.
we're just trying to put the money together for it now and doing some rewrites, and it'll happen when it happens. So
Yeah, that's
so
really cool, man.
yeah, man, just gotta keep moving forward. And any actors out there that have a story that they want to share, don't feel like you can't share it.
Yeah,
It's a good message.
People don't respect your perspective, or don't agree with what you say. You're not going to please everyone. So I find like a lot of actors are people pleasers, and it's in general, it's like just live your life and, have your beliefs and just stay
awesome.
positive, stay happy, spread that love.
Yeah, spread that love. I like that coming from the enlightened new Jedi Knight, the new better Dax. So we got your upcoming projects. What about your socials? Do you want to plug any of your social medias?
Yeah, just Dax Ravina, Instagram. I don't use Twitter.
Awesome. All right. You know how we end the show, right?
And too many weird stuff. Facebook, not a fan.
True.
Same.
Yeah.
You ready?
Hit it.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Much love.
Woo!
What up, homies?
If you like the show and want more, check out patreon.com/Bledsoe said so.
This will get you exclusive weekly bonus shows and access to our Discord community with hundreds of open-minded people just like you.
If you want to represent the show, go to bledsoesaidso.com for merch. We have t-shirts, hats, hoodies, and more.
For all future updates, follow us on Instagram at Bledsoe Said So.
Same time next week.